Hello everyone and welcome to the Young and the Restless channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. The tension begins to coil tightly the moment Nick Newman's phone call cuts off without warning, leaving an unsettling silence hanging in the air. On the other end, Adam stands frozen for a beat, a flicker of unease crossing his face before instinct takes over and he tries calling back, only to be met with nothing but unanswered ringing. That silence grows heavier as Adam makes his way to Riza's suite, only to find the door locked, as if the truth itself is deliberately being kept from him. Time stretches thin until Riza finally returns, her presence sharp and guarded, and after a tense exchange, she allows him inside. The absence of Ronnie is immediately noticeable, an invisible presence that somehow speaks louder than any words, and Adam wastes no time pressing Riza for answers about Nick's whereabouts, and Adam wastes no time pressing Riza for answers about Nick's whereabouts, and Adam wastes no time pressing Riza for answers about Nick's whereabouts, and Adam wastes no time pressing Riza for answers about Nick's whereabouts, and Adam wastes no time pressing Riza for answers about Nick's whereabouts, and Adam wastes no time pressing Riza for answers about Nick's whereabouts, and Adam wastes no time pressing Riza for answers about Nick's whereabouts, and Adam wastes no time pressing Riza for answers about Nick's. His urgency sharpens when he mentions the name Matt Clark, but confusion crosses Riza's face. She doesn't recognize it, and for a brief moment, it feels like they are both chasing shadows. But the atmosphere shifts the instant Adam brings up another name, Mitch Pakal, and something clicks behind Riza's eyes, a realization dawning that carries with it a sense of betrayal. She admits that Mitch was her partner's old identity before he reinvented himself as Ronnie, and suddenly the pieces begin to fall into a darker, more dangerous pattern. Adam lays out Matt's vendetta, revealing how deep the hatred runs against Nick and Sharon, and in that moment, Riza understands that everything, the reunion, the return to the game, was nothing more than a calculated lie. The sting of that deception hits her hard, fueling a surge of anger that erupts as she slaps Adam, the sharp sound echoing through the room like a gunshot. When she nearly strikes him again, Adam catches her hand, his voice cutting through the chaos as he pleads for her help to find Nick. Beneath the anger and betrayal, the urgency becomes undeniable. They are running out of time, and somewhere out there, Nick is already trapped in a nightmare he can't escape. That nightmare unfolds in a dim, suffocating storage room where the truth reveals itself in the cruelest way possible. Nick sits bound and helpless as the bag is ripped from his head, the harsh light blinding him for a moment before he comes face to face with Matt Clark. There's a twisted satisfaction in Matt's expression as he taunts Nick, mocking him for walking straight into the trap so carefully set, a trap that used Adam as bait and deception as its weapon. Every word Matt speaks drips with calculated cruelty as he explains how even the men Nick trusted to supply him with drugs were working for him all along. The realization hits Nick like a punch to the gut, but it only gets worse when he asks the question that lingers in the air, whether Matt intends to kill him. Instead of answering with violence, Matt delivers something far more chilling, insisting that he plans to help Nick instead, his voice laced with dark irony. What follows is a promise more terrifying than death itself, as Matt vows to keep feeding Nick's addiction, pushing him deeper and deeper until he's too broken to fight back. He paints a grim future where Nick becomes so consumed, so far gone, that he can no longer protect the people he loves. Noah, Sienna, Sharon, names that now feel like distant lifelines slipping further away. Nick struggles against his restraints, desperation surging through him, but Matt remains calm, almost amused, making it clear that he holds all the power in this twisted game. With cold certainty, he declares his intention to drag Nick past rock bottom into a darkness so deep there's no way back. And in the end, his most devastating prediction lingers in the air. When Matt finally goes after Nick's loved ones, Nick will be too destroyed, too lost to stop him. Back in Genoa City, the storm of conflict rages just as fiercely, though in a different form. Kyle Abbott confronts Victor Newman with a fire fueled by anger and disbelief, demanding accountability for what happened to Jack aboard the yacht. But Victor stands unmoved, his refusal to accept responsibility as unyielding as ever, his presence dominating the room with quiet authority. When Kyle calls him a coward, the word cuts sharply through the tension, but Victor doesn't flinch. Instead, he responds with a warning, his tone icy and controlled, reminding Kyle to watch his language. The confrontation leaves no resolution, only deeper resentment, and when Nikki steps in, hoping to reach Victor in a way Kyle couldn't, she's met with the same wall of denial. Victor's anger turns toward her instead, accusing her of betrayal, of turning against him, and the divide between them widens into something that feels almost impossible to mend. Elsewhere, the emotional fallout continues to ripple outward, touching lives in quieter but no less painful ways. At Society, Michael Baldwin seeks confirmation from Diane Jenkins Abbott about the rumors, and she doesn't hold back, revealing that she has left the Abbott mansion and walked away from Jack. Her voice carries the weight of everything that has happened, the yacht ordeal, the betrayal, and she places the blame squarely on Victor, her anger burning just beneath the surface. When she turns that frustration toward Michael for not standing against Victor, the disappointment in her words stings, even as Michael tries to offer understanding. He encourages her to consider forgiveness, to move forward, but Diane isn't ready. Her heartbreak is still too raw, too fresh to even consider letting go. When Kyle returns home, the emotional toll of his confrontation with Victor follows him, and he confides in Tracy Abbott, his concern for his mother evident in every word. He fears that Diane may never recover from this, that the damage done runs too deep, and the uncertainty hangs heavily between them. At Crimson Lights, a different kind of decision unfolds as Tessa Porter chooses to stay behind, cancelling her trip to Barcelona because her heart tells her she needs to be close in case Mariah needs her. It's a quiet act of love and loyalty, one that doesn't demand attention but speaks volumes, and Daniel Romalotti Jr. understands, offering her a comforting embrace. But peace remains fragile, especially when Phyllis Summers enters the picture, her presence immediately stirring tension. Once alone with Daniel, she presses him about his connection to Tessa, her questions sharp and probing, but Daniel shuts her down, making it clear that some boundaries won't be crossed. When Phyllis tries to extend an olive branch by offering him a division at Summers' conglomerate, he refuses without hesitation, his stance firm and unwavering. He tells her that until Newman Enterprises is returned to its rightful owners, there is nothing left to discuss, and his words carry the weight of disappointment and unresolved conflict. Later, as Lauren Fenmore Baldwin comforts Phyllis, the reality of the situation begins to sink in. Phyllis realizes that she may have pushed Daniel too far, that his forgiveness might remain out of reach unless she makes a sacrifice she isn't ready to face. The path ahead is uncertain, filled with difficult choices that could change everything, and as the story continues to unfold, the stakes only grow higher. Every decision, every betrayal, every fragile moment of hope weaves together into a larger storm, one that threatens to reshape the lives of everyone caught within it. As the weight of everything settles over Genoa City, the sense of unease lingers like a storm that refuses to break, each storyline threading into the next with a quiet but undeniable intensity. In the aftermath of her confrontation with Adam, Riza stands caught between fury and reluctant clarity, her mind replaying every moment that led her here, every lie that now feels painfully obvious in hindsight. The realization that she was nothing more than a pawn in Matt's elaborate scheme cuts deeper than she wants to admit, and yet beneath that anger, there is something else stirring, a reluctant responsibility, a pull she can't ignore now that Nick's life hangs in the balance. Adam watches her carefully, knowing that trust is a fragile thing in this moment, but also understanding that she may be the only one who can help him navigate the dangerous path ahead. There is no time left for blame or hesitation, only the urgent need to act before Matt's plan tightens its grip beyond repair. And as the tension between them slowly shifts from conflict to uneasy alliance, the path forward becomes clear. They have to find Nick before it's too late, no matter what it takes. Meanwhile, in that suffocating storage room where time seems to stand still, Nick's reality continues to spiral into something far more terrifying than he ever imagined. The air feels heavier with every passing moment, every breath laced with the creeping dread of what Matt has planned for him. There is a calculated patience in Matt's movements, a chilling calmness that makes his intentions all the more horrifying, as if he's savoring every second of Nick's unraveling. Nick's mind races, searching desperately for a way out, but the restraints, the isolation, and the looming threat of his own addiction closing in on him create a prison far stronger than anything physical. Every word Matt spoke echoes relentlessly, especially the promise that this isn't about killing him, it's about breaking him, piece by piece until there's nothing left to fight with. And in that moment, Nick begins to understand that the real danger isn't just what Matt will do to him, but what he might become if he can't escape. Across town, the fractures within the Newman family deepen, the emotional distance between them growing harder to ignore with each passing confrontation. Victor remains steadfast in his refusal to accept any blame, his pride acting as both shield and weapon, even as it drives a wedge between him and the people closest to him. Nikki's frustration simmers beneath the surface, her attempts to reach him met with resistance that feels almost immovable, and the pain of being labeled a traitor only adds to the growing divide. The weight of loyalty and betrayal hangs heavily in the air, creating a tension that feels as though it could snap at any moment, leaving behind consequences none of them are prepared to face. Kyle, still reeling from his own clash with Victor, carries that anger with him, but beneath it lies a deeper fear that this conflict is spiraling into something that could permanently fracture the family. And as each of them stands firm in their own convictions, the possibility of reconciliation begins to feel more distant than ever. At the same time, the Abbott family finds itself navigating its own emotional fallout, the echoes of the yacht ordeal rippling through every corner of their lives. Diane struggles to hold herself together in the face of heartbreak that refuses to fade, her anger toward Victor intertwined with a lingering sense of loss over what she's walked away from. Michael's attempts to guide her toward forgiveness come from a place of genuine care, but even he can see that some wounds are too fresh, too deep to heal so easily. The idea of moving forward feels almost impossible when the past still holds such a powerful grip, and Diane isn't ready to let go of the pain that has come to define this chapter of her life. Back at home, Kyle's concern for his mother only grows stronger, his conversation with Tracy leaving him with more questions than answers about what comes next. The uncertainty weighs on him, creating a quiet but persistent fear that the damage done may not be something their family can simply recover from. In quieter corners of the city, moments of love and loyalty offer brief glimpses of light amid the growing darkness. Tessa's decision to stay behind rather than leave for Barcelona speaks volumes about the depth of her commitment, her instincts guiding her to remain close in case Mariah needs her support. It's a choice rooted not in obligation but in love, a quiet, steadfast presence that doesn't demand recognition but carries immense emotional weight. Daniel, caught in his own complicated emotions, finds comfort in that sincerity, his embrace offering a moment of connection that feels genuine and unguarded. Yet even here, the tension isn't far behind, as Phyllis's presence reintroduces conflict the moment she steps into the room. Her questions, her persistence, and her inability to let go of control create a sharp contrast to the warmth that had just begun to settle, reminding everyone that peace is often fleeting in a place like this. As Phyllis continues to grapple with the consequences of her actions, the reality of what she stands to lose becomes impossible to ignore. Daniel's refusal to accept her offer isn't just a rejection of opportunity, it's a rejection of everything she represents in this moment, a line drawn firmly in the sand. His insistence that nothing will change until Newman Enterprises is returned to its rightful owners forces Phyllis to confront a truth she has been avoiding, one that threatens to unravel everything she's worked to build. Later, as Lauren offers her comfort, Phyllis begins to see the situation with a clarity that is both painful and necessary. The possibility that she may never regain Daniel's trust looms over her, casting a shadow over every decision she now faces. And as the weight of that realization settles in, one thing becomes painfully clear. The road ahead will demand sacrifices, and whether she's ready or not, those choices are coming fast. As all these threads continue to intertwine, the world of Genoa City feels as though it's balancing on the edge of something monumental, a turning point where every decision carries the power to change everything. Nick's fate hangs in the balance, his struggle unfolding in darkness while those who care about him race against time to reach him. Alliances are shifting, trust is being tested, and the lines between right and wrong blur with every passing moment. And through it all, one undeniable truth emerges: no one will walk away from what's coming unchanged, as the storm that has been building finally prepares to break. And as the storm inches closer to its breaking point, a quiet but unmistakable shift begins to ripple through every corner of Genoa City, as if the city itself can sense that something irreversible is about to unfold. The tension surrounding Nick's disappearance doesn't just linger, it spreads, weaving its way into conversations, glances, and unspoken fears until it becomes impossible to ignore. Adam and Riza move forward with a shared urgency now, their uneasy alliance forged not out of trust but necessity, each step driven by the growing realization that Matt is always one step ahead. There is a dangerous intelligence behind his plan, a patience that suggests he's been waiting for this moment far longer than anyone realized. And with every second that passes, the margin for error grows thinner, the consequences of failure becoming more devastating to imagine. Somewhere in the darkness, Nick continues to fight, not just against his restraints, but against the slow, suffocating pull of everything Matt is trying to force him into. The psychological torment begins to take its toll, blurring the line between resistance and exhaustion as the weight of isolation presses down on him. Memories of his family flicker through his mind like distant light faces, voices, moments that once grounded him now feel heartbreakingly out of reach. Matt watches it all with calculated precision, as though he's studying a process rather than destroying a man, waiting for the exact moment when Nick begins to crack. There's something deeply unsettling in that patience, in the way he doesn't rush the outcome, because he knows that what he's building will be far more permanent than anything achieved through force alone. And as Nick's strength begins to waver, the true horror of the situation becomes clear. This isn't just captivity, it's transformation. Back in the world above, the emotional fractures between families deepen into something far more volatile, each interaction carrying the weight of everything left unsaid. Victor remains unmoved, his refusal to acknowledge any wrongdoing hardening into something almost immovable, even as it isolates him further from those who once stood firmly at his side. Nikki's pain grows sharper with every failed attempt to reach him, her sense of betrayal cutting both ways as she struggles to reconcile the man she loves with the choices he continues to make. The space between them feels heavier now, filled with silence that says more than any argument ever could. Kyle, caught in the aftermath of his own confrontation, begins to see the broader impact of Victor's actions, not just on Jack, but on everyone connected to them. And in that realization, a deeper fear takes root, one that suggests the damage being done may extend far beyond what anyone can fix. Within the Abbott family, the emotional fallout continues to settle like dust after a collapse, leaving behind a fragile landscape that feels one wrong step away from breaking again. Diane's pain hasn't softened, it has sharpened, becoming something she carries with her in every word, every glance, every quiet moment of reflection. The home she left behind still lingers in her thoughts, not as a place of comfort, but as a symbol of everything that was lost in the wake of betrayal and manipulation. Michael's words about forgiveness echo in her mind, but they feel distant, almost unreachable, as though they belong to a future she can't yet imagine. Kyle and Tracy watch from the edges of that pain, their concern growing as they try to navigate a path forward that doesn't push Diane further away. But the truth remains unavoidable. Healing will take time, and time is something no one in Genoa City seems to have enough of right now. In quieter spaces, where the chaos hasn't fully taken hold, moments of connection continue to flicker like fragile light in the dark. Tessa's choice to stay close, to be present for Mariah no matter what comes, becomes a quiet anchor in a world that feels increasingly unstable. It's not a grand gesture, but something far more powerful: consistency, loyalty, and love in its most genuine form. Daniel, standing at a crossroads of his own, finds himself drawn to that kind of clarity, even as his own relationship with Phyllis grows more complicated by the day. There is a distance between them now that feels harder to bridge, built on choices that can't be undone and truths that refuse to be ignored. And yet, beneath all of it, there's still a lingering question whether reconciliation is possible or if some lines once crossed are meant to remain that way. Phyllis, meanwhile, finds herself facing a reality she can no longer outrun, the consequences of her decisions closing in from all sides. Lauren's support offers comfort, but it also forces reflection, pushing Phyllis to confront what truly matters and what she's willing to sacrifice to hold on to it. The idea of letting go of Newman Enterprises isn't just a business decision, it's a personal reckoning, one that challenges everything she's fought to achieve. But the cost of holding on may be even greater, threatening to sever the bond with Daniel in a way that can't be repaired. That realization settles heavily within her, creating a moment of stillness before the inevitable choice that lies ahead: